Frank the Ghost Martin, who will be facing Gervonta Tank Davis on June the 15th on the second PBC card on Amazon Prime, talks about having to knock out Gervonta Tank Davis because of these reasons. We're going to talk about it in this video, but before we do that, make sure you hit my like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's cook on it. So we just a little over a week and a half out from finally getting to see Gervonta Davis in the ring, because he is the popular fighter and everybody looking forward to seeing Tank Davis in the ring, and even more so this time for the real boxing fans, because now we get to see Tank in the ring against a fighter that can actually box and has footwork and got defense. So a lot of boxing fans is anticipating this fight with Frank Martin and Gervonta Davis. But also, the majority of boxing fans, they looking right past Frank Martin, because a lot of boxing fans just don't see no way in hell that Gervonta Davis can lose, and they definitely don't see him losing to Frank Martin. Now, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for the boxing fans in general, because we know that Tank Davis has a huge fan base and they don't think that nobody can beat Tank. It's impossible for him to get beat. So a lot of people obviously looking past Frank Martin. In Frank Martin's interview that he recently did, or one of them that he recently did, he talked about everything that we seen in that last press conference. And one thing that I learned from this interview, from listening to Frank Martin talk, is that a lot of people took Frank Martin's passive aggressiveness towards Gervonta Davis. They took it as he was afraid of Tank. He was letting Tank punk him and, all of that. But Frank Martin, man, he talked about Gervonta Davis trying to be a bully. He says, man, Tank likes to be a bully. He says that's the way that he uses his ability to get in his opponent's heads. And he was saying, basically, I see through that. And he was asking a question like, do you think that Gervonta Davis is just really like that all the time? He said, nah, I think that he probably is just a cool, silly, funny dude. But that's what he has to do, when it comes to getting in his opponent's head. He wants to try to bully you. He want to get into your head and make you scared before the fight takes place. And so I learned that Frank Martin, he actually understood that. He knew exactly what was going on. So the way that he reacted to Gervonta Davis, he's just like that. He's like, man, I'm not really paying attention to all of that tough rah-rah shit. I know that we got to get in the ring and we got to get it on. So it's no need for me to turn up and try to match his energy or show him that I'm tougher than him. We're going to do all that inside of the ring. So hearing Frank Martin talk, it seems to me that he's more than ready for the task at hand. Because a lot of times when you get a fighter in a fight of this magnitude for their first time, they're nervous. But of course, we still got to see how Frank Martin looked when he come out to that crowd and he looking up and everybody booing him. And, he never been in the spotlight like that. But a lot of times you could tell right off if a fighter is nervous and in shock. You also can tell in the final press conferences, in the weigh-in. Like, I like to look at all of these things because you can see that in a man if they scared when the fight gets closer and closer. So we still got to look at all of that also. But listening to him in these interviews, he seems laid back and he seems more than ready for the task at hand. And it doesn't seem like Gervonta Davis's tactics that he used at the press conference, like slapping his hand down and, getting in his face and all of that. It don't seem like that Frank Martin is too much worried about all that stuff. He knows that Tank Davis is just doing what he does to get in his opponent's heads. Now, with all that being said, going into a fight of this magnitude, and you're going up against somebody that's not only the A side, they're the money man, one of the biggest names in all of boxing. So, understanding the task at hand is Frank Martin knowing that he can't just go in there and box his way to a decision. So in this recent interview that Frank Martin did, he was asked about being able to knock Gervonta Davis out. He was also asked about, past comments that he made about having to knock Tank out. And this is what Frank Martin had to say.
I mean, honestly, I gotta be realistic. You know, going in there just boxing and trying to, win on the scorecards. Tank's they guy. He the guy. So he the money for them and everything like that. So, it gotta be real convincing. This fight, I gotta win this fight real convincing. If it's not by stoppage, it gotta be a blowout. It's going my way for sure.
Now, if y'all want to go check out the full interview, you check it out on the Punch Podcast. Now, Frank Martin, he ain't tell no lie. He was spot on, and it lets me know that he knows the full task at hand. He knows exactly what he got to do on June the 15th to be able to come away with the victory. And I said the same thing. Gervonta Davis is the money man. Everybody know that. It ain't no way in hell they gonna let Tank lose on the scorecards unless it's just by such a wide margin to where they can't rob Frank Martin. And I honestly don't see Frank Martin having the skills to be able to just outbox Gervonta Davis for 12 rounds. Let me clarify that. I don't see him having the skills to be able to shut out Gervonta Davis, meaning win all 12 rounds or win 10 rounds to 2, because that's what it's going to have to be. And even then, a fight of this magnitude with Gervonta Davis, with all of the money that he brings to the PBC, even then, you still might not get a decision. So you got to go knock him out. That's just what it got to be, And he understands that. He understands that they got a whole lot of money behind Gervonta Davis. And if he beats Tank, it's going to mess up all of the business. Right? Tank Davis, right now, over there on the PBC, excluding Canelo, Tank Davis is the biggest money maker. They can't afford for him to lose. And this is just the truth. It goes down like this with all boxing promoters. If you Canelo, whoever you are, if you got that big name, they gonna have everything set in place with the judges just in case the fight don't go like they see it going. And I mean, a lot of y'all crying in the comments because that's all y'all do. But I mean, this happens in boxing all of the time. And I know y'all in the comments talking about, oh man, he gonna knock Frank the F out. It ain't no possibility. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if we ask y'all, Gervonta Davis is invincible and it's no way he can lose to nobody. So I mean, hey, we don't gotta worry about none of that, right? But at the end of the day, I'm just looking for a very good fight, a competitive fight, because I understand that if Frank Martin go in there and get his ass knocked out early or really don't put up a good fight, everybody gonna say that Gervonta Davis was just in there with a bomb. Tank ain't even gonna get credit for beating him. They gonna say, hey, well, Frank Martin, what did he ever do? He was never that good in the first place. So I look at it like this. This fight gotta be competitive for the sake of both fighters. You know what I'm talking about? But let me know how y'all feel about everything. Let me know how y'all feel about what Frank Martin had to say and how y'all see the fight going down. Drop a comment in the comment section. Make sure you hit my like button, subscribe to the channel, and y'all already know how I do. Tego talking that boxing again, and I'm gone.
Dipping in the catalog, just got it fitted on some shit I need a ladder for. Come up in your hood stunting when I leave, dude.
2 miles per hour, so everybody sees you.